Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Today I'm going to be talking about episode 8 from season 9, The Move. It was written by Kathleen Hite and directed by Harvey Laidman. The main storyline in this episode revolves around Ben's return home from the war. Early in the episode, we see this stock footage of the Golden Gate Bridge, and then we are seeing this ship that is returning to the Bay Area, and we see that Ben and another sailor are on board. Now, this is interesting the way they shoot something like this, because they didn't go to San Francisco and they were not actually on a ship on the water. But in these close-up shots of Ben and the sailor, we get a nice lighting reflection that looks like it is reflecting off water, and there is a sense of movement. And so we get the sense that they're in a moving ship. And then when they go from behind them, we have this sort of their point of view of what they are seeing as they are approaching the Bay Area coast. And that would be a projection. So we're talking about another sort of process shot. But again, there's movement that gives you the sense that we're on moving water. And then the way that they intercut, it really is very effective in making us feel like this is a real experience. Erin has a week of vacation from the picket factory, and she's planning to go on a vacation to Atlantic City. And then Cindy gets a call that Ben is going to be arriving in Norfolk and that she can go and pick him up. Now, we're still just barely at the end of the war. So rationing is still totally in place. So the problem that Cindy has is that she does not have the rations she needs for gasoline to make that drive. And everyone kind of looks at Erin, who has the ration coupons because she is going to go to Atlantic City. Well, she very kindly gives up her ration coupons to Cindy and said, kids, you're going to owe me big time, and I'm going to just take a vacation at home and it'll be fine. And it's more important for you to go get Ben. So we do see Cindy then all packed up and ready to go, and she's in her car. And this was another case where I sort of looked at this, because Leslie has talked about how much difficulty she had driving that car because it was so big for her and she couldn't reach the pedals well, couldn't deal with it. It was just a big, heavy car. And so she said it got to a point where for a lot of the scenes with her that the crew would attach a rope to the front bumper and they would pull the car in or out of scenes. And so in this case, you hear her start the engine, but you are not on a wide shot that actually shows the car move unaided. And so it is entirely likely that that car was indeed pulled out of that shot. We see Jason and John carrying a heavy desk into the mill area, and John is hoping to surprise Ben with a new sort of desk office area in the mill for his return, and he has created this beautiful sign that is going to make Ben a partner in the mill. So Daddy has big plans for Ben's return. We see Ben and Cindy reunite as Cindy awaits his arrival, and they're, of course, very excited to see each other. And as they talk over the period of time, they're having a little time away before they head home, a little bit of a honeymoon there. And he talks about how excited he is to be home, and go back and see Ginny and go to the mountain and see the family, but he doesn't really want to stay there, that the time he spent in the Seabees really opened his eyes to possibilities, and he wants to become an engineer, which would mean going away to college on the GI Bill, and then he wants to design and build things. So they're talking, and Ben has big plans of his own. Ben arrives back at the house, and he has his reunion with Ginny, which is very sweet. And then he goes over to the mill. He sees Daddy, and it sees the sign and is now aware of the big plans that John has for Ben's return. So Ben and Cindy talk some more about, what they're going to do about this, and they decide to present a united front, and they go and they talk with John about about Ben's plan and what he wants to do, and that he wants to go to school, but he feels badly because of what John's plan is. And John's basically says, look, it's your life and you need to do what's right for you. And if that's what you want to do, then, you should go do that. So he basically gives them his blessing to move on if that's what he wants to do. They also mention that they have spoken to Cindy's dad about it and that he has a lot of connections and that he's on board to actually help them with this. And, of course, John's disappointed. He's at Ike's one day and we see the Baldwin sisters and they find out Ben's home. And I thought that was interesting. They look a little different to me. I thought for some reason these outfits that they're wearing here, Miss Emily's in a very, sort of strong, bold red dress. And Miss Mamie seems to have a lot of extra stuff, scarfing around her neck. So I don't know. I just thought of the outfits I've seen them wear, these kind of caught my attention as being sort of different. Let me know what you think. Anyway, John does share with Ike his disappointment about how he built up this whole mill and when he came home from the war, that his dad, Zeb, had made him a partner and how he couldn't wait to get back and stay there. And that, he had always hoped to be able to pass on the mill and that he realized John Boy wasn't going to be interested. And then Jason wanted to pursue music and, Jim Bob didn't seem all that interested, but he always sort of counted on Ben. And now he's not quite sure what he's going to do. Cindy's dad, Colonel Brunson, comes by and he sort of challenges John a bit and says that, he feels like John is really wanting Ben to stay on the mountain and do like what he did and not leave. And John's basically saying, no, that's not true. It's Ben can make his own choices in these things. John has gone to visit Mama in D.C., and then while he is gone, Ben gets a call from Cindy's dad that he has been accepted to the college. And so he's very excited. And as within this excitement, John arrives back home and basically lets them know that Mama has had a relapse and that she needs to go to Arizona for her health and that Daddy is going to take her there. Ben comes to talk to Daddy and says he realizes that he's going to be needed to help run the mill while Daddy's gone. And so, he's decided that he's fine. College can wait. And Daddy's like, no, I'm going to sell the mill. Cora Beth has someone that she is showing the mill to, and Ben is showing him around, and he doesn't really like what the man has to say and his attitude about what he's looking for. And ultimately, the man, Mr. Gentry, basically says that he's looking to turn out the most amount of product in the least amount of time, and that all of the concerns about reputation and the quality of everything isn't what he's looking for. And Ben is very upset about that and basically tells the guy, forget it, go, get out. The whole family is talking to Daddy about wanting to see Mama before he takes her on the train to Arizona. And so it's finally agreed that the next day, early, they will go and they will all, see Mama before she heads out on her trip. The Baldwin sisters come by and they have a gift of the recipe for them to take on the trip. And then Cora Beth comes from the mill area and says to John that there is something he needs to come and talk to her about right now. It's about a partnership deal and it's very important. And so John goes with her over to the mill, and Ben is there and he has hung the sign that says John and Ben Walton, Walton's Mill. And so he has said that he basically wants to stay and be partners. This is what they want to do. So, of course, John is very, very happy about that. Other things going on in this episode revolve a little bit around Aaron, who wants the time away from JD, but JD keeps showing up and needing her help with stuff. And she's like, no, not discussing it with you. And he says he has a procurement officer who's coming at the end of the week and he needs her help for that. And she's like, no, not happening. JD shows up with the actual procurement officer. This is Captain Bennett. And she tells him she doesn't care. She will meet him Monday morning in the office. And in the meantime, he can do whatever he likes. And So he actually invites her to dinner. And JD is like, oh, that's great. And if the procurement, and he's like, no, JD, get in the car. And he basically says, no, strictly just, dinner. And so Erin actually agrees that she will go to dinner with him. We never do see this dinner or hear anything more about what happened there, but we're going to imagine that Erin had a really nice time with this good-looking officer. This was Ralph's last episode of the regular series. After this, he was in Arizona with Mama and did not return before the end of the season. Of course, he did return for all of our various different reunion episodes and movies and stuff. So I thought that it was very appropriate that the goodnights in this episode, we see him on the porch, very much like we did with John Boy on his last episode. And he's out there and he's hearing everyone saying goodnight. And then he has the final on-screen goodnight to everybody. So it was kind of his final sign-off for the series. As for the cast in this episode, of course, Peggy Ray, Leslie Winston, Mary Jackson, and Helen Klebe as the Baldwins, and then Elizabeth and Claire Schoen, who were playing Ginny at this point, were all back, along with Louis Arquette, who we had seen numerous times already as J.D. Pickett. Then as far as our guest actors, Dan Fraser was Colonel Henry Brunson, Cindy's dad. He was born November 20th, 1921 in Hell's Kitchen, New York, and died December 16th, 2011 in Manhattan. He was one of 10 children, and his father was a bricklayer and ironworker who helped build the Empire State Building. His only child, Susanna Fraser, was a ballet dancer with the American Ballet Theater and the Joffrey Ballet. He was a character actor best known as Telly Savalas' supervisor, Captain Frank McNeil, on Kojak, and was also a close friend of Telly Savalas's. During World War II, he helped entertain troops as a member of the U.S. Army Special Services. Amongst his various different TV appearances, it included 8 episodes of The Phil Silvers Show, The Andy Griffith Show, Car 54, Where Are You?, where he did 3 episodes, Dr. Kildare, 3 episodes of Route 66, McHale's Navy, My Favorite Martian, Flipper, 3 episodes of The FBI, Kojak. He did 117 episodes of Kojak. And As the World Turns, he did 78 episodes as Lieutenant Dan McCloskey. As far as films go, he was in the film Lilies of the Field with Sidney Poitier as Father Murphy, and Cleopatra Jones, and Breakout. Ed Coopy played Captain Bennett, and he was born August 31st, 1949. On TV, he did episodes of Charlie's Angels, Logan's Run, Dynasty, Trapper John M.D., Simon and Simon, Matt Houston, 3 episodes of Capital, and did 9 episodes of Santa Barbara as Delwyn Stritch. Len Wayland was Mr. Gentry. He was born December 28, 1920 in Gentry City, Arkansas, and died February 5, 2001 in Los Angeles. He started his career as a Broadway actor and toured in productions of A Streetcar Named Desire and A Man for All Seasons. He had over 90 TV credits. His TV credits included A Time to Live. He did 129 episodes as Chuck Buchanan, 912 episodes of From These Roots as Dr. Buck Weaver, 5 episodes as Mr. Gray and the Doctors. He did Rawhide, Big Valley, 6 episodes of Dr. Kildare, 2 episodes of The Fugitive, 2 episodes of Gunsmoke, 5 episodes as Assistant D.A. Fisher in Felony Squad. Love Is Many Splendid Thing, he did 74 episodes as Phil Elliott, 9 episodes of Dragnet, Mayberry RFD, Columbo, 9 episodes of The FBI, 4 episodes of Adam 12, 5 episodes of Barnaby Jones, Little House on the Prairie, The Blue and the Gray, which David Harper also worked on, Dallas, 2 episodes, and Generations, 11 episodes as Vern Hutchings. Gerald Pearson was the sailor. He was born February 9th, 1954 in Stamford, Connecticut. On TV, he did episodes of The Paper Chase, Here's Boomer, Robert Kennedy and His Times, 3 episodes, Hunter, Matlock, etc., and he was in the film Love at First Bite. Thank you for joining me for this segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons about the episode The Move. If you enjoy these various segments, please do hit like and subscribe. I'll be back with more about episodes, more of your questions in an Ask Judy, and more special guests. Thanks for watching.